Welcome back to another in our series of people, places, and things in the Bible. Our topic for today is, can you spot the difference? Recently, my daughter, son-in-law, and grandchildren traveled on vacation to a place that she and I had visited nearly 3 decades ago. It was one of those once-in-a-lifetime trips that, if you're fortunate, comes along twice. She was able to visit many places she had experienced as a little girl. One of the unique things she was also able to do, which has become quite popular, was to recreate some of the same photographs taken at the same locations. It is interesting to see her in front of and in those same scenes, but now 30 years later. The scenery is slightly different, having shown signs of aging and upgrades. However, my daughter is hardly recognizable, having grown up and matured. That's the nature of our existence. Several years ago, a photographer sought to recreate Ansel Adams' now historic photographs of the breathtaking scenes of the American West that were brought to the eyes of the world. For many of us, to get the photograph close would be good enough. To stand near the same spot would be acceptable. However, for Chris Rainier, a National Geographic Society photographer, close enough wasn't good enough. Not only did he need to be in the exact location, but he needed to be there the exact time of year with the exact celestial background. With the help of astronomers at Texas State University, Rainier was provided with the exact date, time, and spot of where the picture was taken. Rainier simply needed to use the same single lens reflex camera settings, and voila, out came the image. Sounds simple, right? For my daughter and Chris Rainier, the results of their efforts were a labor of love. The enjoyment they found in their projects can best be appreciated by those who shared the experience or have an emotional or intellectual connection. So it is with many endeavors in life. I think about this from time to time as a disciple of Christ. We try to recreate, as it were, many of the aspects of what Christ taught about himself and the kingdom he established, the church. We are commanded, and that's the imperative tense in Greek, commanded to be imitators of Christ in 1 Corinthians 11:1 and 1 Thessalonians 1:6. I don't believe it was Paul's intent that we dress the same or wear the same sandals, sport the same hairstyles of the day, or to not have a permanent dwelling as such. But there were characteristics I believe Paul had in mind when he made these statements, because he himself strove to imitate Christ in these. Paul said of the Thessalonians in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verses 6 and 7, "And you became imitators of us and of the Lord. For you received the word in much affliction, with the joy of the Holy Spirit, so that you became an example to all the believers in Macedonia and Achaia." The closer one is to the original, the better the example they will have to follow, and thus become like. A relatively easy experiment to prove the results would be to take an original picture and then make a copy of it. Take note of the detail in that copy. Are there any imperfections? Perhaps not to the naked eye. Now take that copy and make another copy from it. Again, examine that copy. Continue this process of making copies of copies of copies. What you will no doubt begin to find is the gradual deterioration of the quality. At some point, you will take one of those copies and lay it beside the original, and notice how much it has changed and lost its detail. It is hoped that we will learn that it is important to stick as close to the original as we can. Now, for some, close enough is good enough. I'm a good person, all in all, compared to those around me, some may say. But Paul didn't say, just get close. He said, be imitators. It is the same word in Greek we get our modern day word mime and mimeograph, and mimic from. So, as we go about our day-to-day lives, let's find out those things that Christ and Paul desired in us to be. And let's recreate those in every detail as close as we possibly can. Where would you start? And Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at another episode, People, Places, and Things of the Bible.